Thank you everybody for coming out today. We're calling on BP for some answers. We want to know what kind of oil was leaked into Lake Michigan. We want to know how much oil was leaked into Lake Michigan. And we want to ensure that our drinking water is safe. So the first speaker we have is Dorothy with the Global Climate Convergence.
Thank you. I'm Dorothy Pagosa with the Global Climate Convergence. Global Climate Convergence is calling on all people to start connecting all the issues together. We had a horrible spill in Lake Michigan produced by BP. You know who's going to pay for that? All of us. All the issues are combined. Poor people are going to pay for it because they won't be able to afford bottled water. The world is going to pay for it because as we run out of water, wars are going to be caused because of lack of water. It's all connected. We're calling on British Petroleum, who just got off the no-drill list this past month, to give answers, to be investigated by an outside source. This is a horrible thing. It might look perfectly clear on top, but if indeed it was tar sands that was spilled, it's underneath and spoiling and poisoning Lake Michigan, even as we speak. So thank you all for coming. Global Climate Convergence, 10 days of action from Earth Day to May Day. We're going to be making the connections, people. It's not going to be hidden anymore.
Right on, Dorothy. So next we have Vicki Hamlin, Chris Walmoff, and Al Smith with the MyCats, the Michigan Coalition Against Tar Sands here. And they're here to speak to us about the same issues that the tar sands issues in Michigan and...
Hi everyone, my name's Al Smith. I'm a member of the MyCats, Michigan Coalition Against Tar Sands, along with my wife Vicki and my friend Chris. We are big advocates against tar sands in all its forms. We took action in Michigan because of the Kalamazoo River spill. My wife was arrested during a lockdown, had her bond revoked, was placed in jail, found guilty on 2 charges, including a felony. It's an issue that is very close to our heart. And here, we love Chicago. We come all the time. We live down on the lake in Chesterton, Indiana. What happens here is even closer than the Kalamazoo, and the problem is tar sands. It's Alberta tar sands. BP has revamped their production of it, and that we all believe is what went into the lake. You know, this is a matter that was very close to our heart, not because we do this for a job or that we've been educated to do it, because we have grandchildren who swim in that lake. We have friends who live along the coast. We have people who suffer in the south side of Chicago. The legacy of BP's environmental damage goes on, and we just want, while the world is looking at BP, we want them to know that, and we want it to stop. We don't want just accountability. We want the production of tar sands stopped. We want the abuse of minorities and indigenous and uneducated people stopped. And we want the lake clean. We want our water clean for ourselves, for our children, our grandchildren, and everybody to come after us and all the life that depends on it. This has to stop. Every day there's another spill. Every single day somewhere there's another spill. And it's getting worse because of the development of tar sands, which is a wickedly ineffective way to make oil or gasoline. You know, so please, do what you can, and I'm going to give you Vicki and Chris. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Vicki. I just was released from jail 3 weeks ago for protesting tar sands oil, dirty, dirty oil in Michigan, and it's good to be out. And then, you know, I'm out and I hear about all these new spills. That's just awful, you know. So I don't have a lot to say. I'm going to keep fighting against BP, against tar sands, against all the dirty oil. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you. And I'm going to let Chris talk about what he found in the river.
Just want to agree with that guy that went by. BP is full of bullshit. All right, folks. My name is Chris Womhoff. I'm part of the Michigan Coalition Against Tar Sands. I grew up 1 football field away from the Kalamazoo River in Michigan. That was a river that's seen the largest inland oil spill in U.S. history. It was tar sand oil. What I have with me is a formation many of us believe to be called core exit. The reason I brought this and why I want you folks to know what core exit is and why it's important is because in the BP spill in 2010, BP bought 1/3 of the entire world's amount of core exit. Core exit is a chemical dispersant that breaks down and coagulates oil, which just means it captures oil. This is a highly toxic chemical built up of several other chemicals. Why I'm bringing this is because this piece of core exit was not from the BP Gulf spill, it was from the Kalamazoo River, an area as part of the Great Lakes where core exit is not allowed to be used because it's too dangerous to the aquatic life. Now, even though it's too dangerous, even though it's unpermitted, we can find rocks like this in the thousands in the Kalamazoo River. It's a different company, it's Enbridge. They're just about as bad. But BP used this on the spill in the Gulf, and we're afraid that it could be used in Lake Michigan. And media, this is on you. Please find out 2 questions. If these people found out they had this oil spill happening and did not call the EPA within 1 hour, they're in a large violation. Find out where that's at. The other thing is, you guys with helicopters, if you see them dumping something in the water that looks like sand, if you see them spraying something in the water that looks like sand or is brown like this, there's a good chance it's an illegal dispersant that this company is known for using. Keep your eyes out. They're not going to let us see from the ground. And for the rest of you people, it's time for us to start raising our voices. In Kalamazoo, we went to the government and we got blocked. We went to the DNR, we got blocked. Kids started getting sick and we started raising hell and we got blocked, so we had to start doing it ourselves. That means putting yourself on the line. That means doing crazy stuff like climbing in a pipeline. That means crazy stuff like locking to a construction equipment. And it means giving a tomorrow for your kids. Because this company doesn't give a damn about our families. They don't care about the future, they care about money. You have to make this expensive for them. Find them, fight them. Thank you.
Awesome. Next we have Jay Becker with Tar Sands Free Midwest.
Yes. Hi,
You squeeze it.
Okay. I'm speaking today for Tar Sands Free Midwest. We are outraged by news this week of British Petroleum's oil spill into Lake Michigan. This spill happened just 7 miles from the intake source of our drinking water, the drinking water of millions of people. Just as outrageous is that no one is revealing the type of oil and chemicals that were spilled. We have strong suspicion that this was tar sands oil because 80 to 90% of British Petroleum Whiting's oil since their $4 billion upgrade is Canadian heavy crude, in other words, tar sands. BP is the largest tar sands refinery in the entire United States. As several people have outlined, the one problem with the tar sands spill is that the oil sinks in the water. It's impossible to clean it up. We've seen this in Kalamazoo. As we learned with the Kalamazoo River spill over 3 years ago, the river is still full of tar sands. Not only is tar sands impossible to clean up, it is also full of volatile compounds, chemicals to make it flow. In a tar sands spill, these chemicals evaporate for at least 24 hours after the spill, and yet they took at least 15 hours before notifying the public. We demand that British Petroleum reveal what was spilled, reveal what chemicals were released, reveal what went wrong, and that they shut the damn refining operations until this problem is resolved. And I want to echo Chris's comment that we're counting on the media to dig into this and not let up until we find out those facts. No amount of money will undo the environmental damage of a spill in our drinking water. A fine is not enough. It's our health, our air, our drinking water, and the future at stake. We demand full disclosure of what was spilled and how they're going to clean it up and prevent another one. Shut British Petroleum down, shut down all tar sands all along the pipeline.
Yes, do it.
Chris, right?
Jay Becker.
J-J-A-Y, Becker, B-E-C-K-E-R.
Yeah.
To keep our lakes clean and fresh, BP must be put to rest. To keep our lakes clean and fresh, BP must be put to rest. To keep our lakes clean and fresh, BP must be put to rest. To keep our lakes clean and fresh, BP must be put to rest. Woo! Woo! Next we have Danielle Villarreal here. She's a concerned citizen. She's going to speak about the demands for the EPA.
Oh, there's Carlos.
Oh, there's Carlos as well. Do you want to speak, Carlos? Do you want to speak on Cut?
Carlos.
Carlos, do you want to speak on Cut? Really quick. Actually, we have one more speaker before that. Okay, go ahead.
I just got here. Into the microphone?
Into this.
Did you say your name?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Carlos, and I'm a member of the System Change, Not Climate Change Eco-Socialist Organization. And I wanted to talk about a little struggle that's happening. Well, it's not a legal struggle, but it's a struggle that's happening on the south side of Chicago that hasn't gotten much coverage at all. And that is the fact that there are piles of petroleum coke, which is a byproduct, a toxic byproduct of tar sands, which, as we know by what's happening on the Keystone Pipeline, tar sands is crude oil, and it's considered by most to be the most, or the dirtiest type of fuel. So this byproduct is being stashed in a neighborhood made up of, mostly minorities and low-income folks. And this is, more of the same. And the reason why this connects to what's happening with BP is because these piles of toxic dust that are accumulating are supposed to be then shipped over the Calumet City River into the refinery in Whitting, Indiana, which as we know, spilled up to 1,600 gallons of oil into Lake Michigan, a source of drinking water for 7 million people. And I think all of these things are related. And when talking about these things, I think that we should be clear and to say that it's not okay for people like the Koch brothers, which are in charge of putting these piles of coke in a place where kids are now not allowed to go out after school because of the risk that its toxicity has to their lungs. That the Koch brothers and BP have been giving carte blanche to pollute our system, or our whole planet, just because it gives the 1% a little bit more profitability. And I think we should stand and say that enough is enough. Like, not only should there be repercussions for this, but we should actually fight for a world where the priority is placed on people and humanities. And I think that this action was called by the Global Climate Convergence, which is putting out a call for connecting May Day to Earth Day. I think that we should fight for a living wage for everybody. We should fight for universal health care. We should actually make our planet healthier instead of trying to make it sicker. So in closing, I just want to say that while doing that, while fighting for these struggles, while fighting to get Lake Michigan clean, while fighting to get Petcoat out of our neighborhoods, we're also fighting for a better system, which is not only possible, but is actually quite frankly needed, because a better world is possible, but we also want a world where we can actually breathe in. So thank you so much.
So not only did the Global Climate Convergence demand to know answers from BP, but we also want a full public investigation done by the EPA. We want the waters and the air and the bed of the lake, of Lake Michigan, tested to make sure toxins are not in our drinking water, in our air, in the ground around us. So to talk more about this is Danielle Villarreal.
Hi everyone. I have a letter that the Global Climate Convergence has put together to the EPA, and I'm going to read that off here real quick. This past Monday evening, BP spilled an estimated 1,638 gallons of oil into Lake Michigan. This is the drinking water for 7 million people in the Chicagoland area. Actions such as these are completely unacceptable and can have irreparable damage to our community and our environment. We demand an EPA evaluation of this spill, specifically in regards to the type of oil that's spilled, and that the EPA's findings be made public. It has been reported that the pipe still 12 was responsible for the leak, which has been refining tar sands from Alberta, Canada. Mike Beslow, the on-site coordinator for the EPA, said that when he visited the site around 9 p.m. Monday evening, the sheen was no longer visible. This could be due to the fact that tar sands sink and that the contaminants might be polluting the bed of Lake Michigan. All cleaning efforts have only cleaned the surface of the lake. We demand that the EPA test the air around the spill for toxins that evaporate off the tar sands when leaked, which are known as neurotoxins and are highly carcinogenic. We've learned from the Kalamazoo River tar sand spill, we do not yet have the technical capability to recover submerged oil from a heavy crude spill. Yet it has not been revealed whether heavy crude was a part of BP's spill. Will you reveal the types of oil and all chemical compounds which were spilled? And what is your plan to investigate and recover submerged oil from the spill site? The people of Chicago demand to know, is their drinking water safe? The EPA must test the water, air, and sea floor of Lake Michigan for toxins and contaminants and make results public. Less than a month ago, BP was removed from the federal no contracts list, and BP must be placed back on that list and face a full public investigation for their climate crimes. The letter which I just read has been passed around and received signatures from folks here, and it is in process of receiving more signatures from around the city and around the nation. What we're going to do now that we're here in front of BP offices in Chicago is go ahead and see if we can deliver the letter to BP and show how much they care for the citizens that are living in the city and affected by the business that they do every day. So we're going to go ahead and deliver that right now. All right.